The parallel series of monsters. So this is interesting based off of what Konami has done with the Duelist Box Prismatic Summon. So make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So yesterday we got the 4 new monsters, kind of completing the series of things. And it was kind of cool because a lot of people were talking about a pattern that these cards were actually just basically the first banned monsters for each of the archetypes receiving some sort of retrain. And what we're seeing now is kind of a thought of these were parallel versions of cards from alternate dimensions. You know, what if, this card was balanced in another way? What if this card opened up, another dimensional rift and blah, blah, blah. And the reason that kind of sparked this was, the parallel to the Draco, the prism in the name for the Hauki Fibrax. Let's all just kind of acknowledge the fact that, looking at the new Hauki Fibrax as a card for this being a parallel, previously bringing out a tuner from the deck was a little bit chaotic. But I think the Hauk has really peaked up most of the attention of the new monsters because the Hauk brings out a tuner from the extra deck now. Konami said bringing out any of these monsters from this side of the deck was bad. Now we're going to force you to eat up one of your 15 slots. And then, they forced you to basically warp it out to get those 3 tokens during the opponent's turn, which would technically give me the ability to Excel Synchro Summon during the opponent's turn. But it still takes 3 monsters to make it. And then the second one that really has caused a fuss amongst the players was the Galaxy Eyes, the Antimatter Dragon. But there's a nice little clause on this that a lot of people are missing, that you have to be able to attack. So turn 1, you're not going to be able to abuse this thing in the way that you're expecting. Konami actually finally managed to counterbalance this thing. And I think that's the saving grace for it, because you can't gain attacks if you're going first. It's the double iris ruling. If you guys aren't too familiar with that, in order to gain, it's actually the same thing with Inzektor Hopper. You have to be able to have a battle phase to trigger these effects, and Konami actually did a fantastic job counterbalancing that. Then there is the Infernal Striker, which, by the way, card is nuts. Being able to go battle phase, clear up everything, main phase 2, and your opponent. What were you thinking, Konami? I get it's a main phase 2 wipe, sure, but that's really, really good. So the reason I just wanted to talk about those for a second here, yes, they're not necessarily as powerful as their counterparts, but it's interesting to take note here that they are done. Are we done with erratas? We're done with erratas, right? There's no way. Are we still going to do erratas and we're going to do stuff like this now? I think taking these cards and creating parallel versions of potentially broken cards and making them rebalanced is a beautiful idea. I want Konami to explore this idea. I don't know who in the office thought of the idea of, what if we just, we don't want to keep issuing erratas because we're ruining cards, but what if we just make new versions of the cards to upgrade fan favorites and have players still recognize these cards, but, we can say that, they're from an alternate universe. Now, where am I getting this alternate theory crap? I mean, look at the unicorn's art. It's literally the unicorn flipped sideways. It's literally its brother. Hulk, came back from the banned dimension and now summons from the extra deck. The number doesn't matter dragon, you guys remember, came out of a white hole instead of a dark hole. Infernal Flame Striker is just the better version. Thousand Eyes Restrict, is an illusion monster. That is technically its opposite. The Mize, his power is now to, instead of ritualing, by using the ritual spell in the hand, he rituals, or sends the ritual from the deck. they're all parallels within some sort of design space. So my next question becomes, technically the Galaxy Eyes was a manga card, and they did technically create a parallel for a character card. You know, the Magispector really wasn't. The Halki Fibrax is just poor decision making from the fallout that we still feel to this day. But they've now touched on the fact that they are willing to explore character design space too. So I'm excited about that. I don't know. These were, I want to say, like antagonist design cards almost to the way it is. But I want to know, where do we go from here? You know, are we suddenly going to see are we going to see parallels to the main hero cards? Because I don't think Konami would want to acknowledge doing parallels to the heroes. Because if we're going to root this back to a core source in the anime logic, then this would be Arc V crossing across the dimension, and suddenly my card has a new power because of going to another dimension. Or, you know, I got to another dimension, I've gained a new sort of power. That would be, if they want to apply Arc V logic to this, then all of these cards become massively justified at this point, and you're just using dimensional hopping to, you know, access new things. But my next question becomes, what do we need to do this? Because a lot of us were we were assuming it was going to be like, the Summon Sorceress was going to get a retrain, because I believe she was like one of the first. I also kind of expected Plush Fire to be one, but they dodged both of those. So I would love to see a Delinquent Duo parallel, Confiscation parallel. God, there is so much on the ban list that you could just do upgrades and parallels to. Like, I'm excited because this just fuels the next 5 years of card design. This literally gives Konami 1,001 dumb ways to rehash the same level of cards that they have done before, but at the exact same time, it gets me excited because I don't know what they could pull out. I really don't know what sort of brokenness that Konami would want to, you know, try to do. And honestly, that's I think that's the most interesting thing to me. I'm just looking at the oh my god, a Fairy Tale Snow. You know, Mega Banish 10 for its special summon. A Cyberstein would be really cool. This is actually how Max C parallel. What if, now hear me out for a second, what if now that we've accessed this knowledge within our mind, we can now bring a Maxi parallel to the table. We can retrain Appaloosa, though Appaloosa getting an errata is an entirely extra discussion at this point, because Apple does need an errata so we don't lose the value within the parallels or hurt players. That one, I think, has to be something that we are going to have to kind of consider. This also gives us access to a link cross parallel, which, you know, could be really cool. And this also now gives you a reason to do Kit Gallos as a parallel as well. Because let's call it what it is. I mean, the Vices lore is just him going through an infinite loop. That's literally within house, man. Like, there's nothing that you can really forget about within that you could do. There's also, you know, Utopic Zexal, you know, Tomahawk, Shockmaster. There's a lot of dumb things within the design space of these banned cards that Konami can do. What was the point of making this video? One, I want to talk about the new trend that I'm seeing now with the parallel monsters. I think the new cards that Konami printed is batshit crazy, and I love every one of them. I'm really looking forward to seeing, you know, potentially how we're going to shape this up with the cards that already exist within the space that are broken. And I want to just see better card design of taking these banned cards that are too powerful and actually bringing something else to them. I'm excited. Please comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here. Linde, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.